how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
I'm really glad that you accepted the invitation. Can you please introduce yourself so people get to know you a little bit more?
Well, my name is Gary Bliss, and I'm a faculty member at the College of Business in Tallahassee, but I come to Panama about every other year. So it's my fourth trip to Panama. I really like it here in Panama.
Okay, and what has been your professional experience aside being a professor?
Oh, besides being a professor? That's a great question. When I graduated, well, let me back up a little bit. I have actually worked for Florida State University now, probably right at 50 years.
Wow.
So I have 50 years with Florida State University. I started off as an RA in the dormitory. I was an RA in the dormitory, which was a lot of fun. And then I graduated. I was a graduate assistant in a graduate degree. And then once I graduated from my master's program, I became an adjunct professor at Florida State University. I was an adjunct professor, I think since 1982 until 2002, when I became a full-time professor at the Panama City, Florida campus of Florida State University. But in the meantime, I was a banker. I was a banker by day, and at nighttime I was a college professor. So I'd come to work in the morning around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, yes, that early. And then I would leave my office at 5, run down to the university, and teach classes till 8 o'clock at nighttime, and then go home.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
you're a seminal at heart.
Yeah. It's crazy. Crazy time. So I was a banker by day, professor by night, and I'm still heavily involved in the banking industry.
Okay, and you said that you come all the way from Tallahassee. So what are some things that you enjoy from Panama that you don't really get to enjoy in the States?
Oh, okay. Small classes.
Oh wow.
So here at Panama campus. Let's talk about the school before I go into actually what I enjoy about Panama myself. I love the small classes here at the Panama campus. I get to know the students. Students get to know me. And that's so much fun. I get to interact with students and have a lot of fun with them. And the students here are they're so motivated and so tuned in to what's going on. They really want to learn something. In Tallahassee, sure, they're motivated and they're tuned in, but I have a class, my face-to-face class, just 100 students in that face-to-face class. And I have 2 online classes that are combined enrollment for both those classes is between 12 and 1,400 students per semester. So I don't get to know them, and I don't really like that. I like to get to know the students. That's the fun part, getting to know the students and interacting with the students and helping the students out, helping them get from where they are now to where they want to be in the future. That's the part I like the most. And here in Panama, I still stay in contact with people that I taught at this campus the very first semester I was ever here. I still stay in contact with them. So we were on LinkedIn together. We get together while we're down here. I'm down here. So it's just the camaraderie and to get to know the students. I really enjoy that. And this class, this semester, I've got some phenomenal good students that I just truly love. They're just so wonderful. They come to class and I love to have them banter a few minutes before class starts because I love to hear them talk with each other. They're so much fun. And then we get down to the business and they're tuned in and they want to learn. They want to understand things. So they're very respectful. They're very, very just wonderful people to be with. So that's one of my favorite things about the Panama campus is the campus. Now about Panama itself, I've always been an adventurous spirit. I love to be adventuresome and do all kinds of crazy things. And I actually have a house. I own a house in Costa Rica, right across the border here in Playa Zancudo. And I came down to Panama thinking, oh, I'll have some opportunity to spend some time in my house in Costa Rica. I was wrong about that because I was too busy working with the students here. But I thoroughly enjoyed Panama itself. And one reason why I enjoy it so much is because it reminds me a lot of Costa Rica, and I love the wildlife here. And the last time I was here, I would sit on my porch before the daylight, and I always get before daylight because I like to get out of bed early. I was sitting on my porch in the mornings. I could hear the howler monkeys from my porch. And just 2 days ago, I heard the howler monkeys again for the first time since I've been here. And I have hummingbird feeders on my porch, and the hummingbirds just are so fun to watch. The wildlife is just incredible, and the canal is just spectacular. What a gem we have right outside this door is that canal, and that canal is phenomenal. And I've been able to transit the canal on a tourist boat, but it's fun. So there's just so many things to do there. There's so much to do. And you know, it's the rainy season this time of the year, but it doesn't rain every day. I mean, it may rain every day, it doesn't rain all day. And so it's fine. I love it here. I love the temperature. I love the wildlife. I love where I'm staying. I love the students here on campus. What's not to like? What's not to like?
And now that we're talking about international experiences, I remember recently in a noon talk, you were talking about that you did not only teach here in Panama City, Panama, but also in Valencia and Florence, in the international campuses in Europe. And what do you think has changed or have taught you having this different cultural environment, and how have this shaped the way you teach and how you engage with students?
Well, the campuses are totally different. They're totally different. Here, I know what the students expect. They expect me to be right on top of everything and being informational and helping them out, helping them learn. Campuses in other areas, they don't want the books to get in the way. So you want to give them the basics of what they need to know so they can go to the next level. But in the other campuses abroad, they're more about the culture and more about learning about the area around there than they are about the material that you want to cover in your class. But you have to cover the material that you need in class so that they go on to the next level. You have to do that. That's just a must. But you spend a lot more time in those other campuses dealing with more cultural aspects than here, because the students from in those other campuses are from Tallahassee that go there to learn about the culture and the communities in Europe and so forth, whereas students here are from here. So it's a totally different atmosphere, and so here, you better be on your A game, because if you're not, students will catch you. So you don't have to be on your A game in those other campuses because you're out in the field a lot. So.
Yeah, I really get that. And I have some of my friends that are in your classes, and they always tell me that, oh, you should come to our class. Or I have one of my friends, she is in your, I think it's multinational organizations class. And she's like, oh, you should come like every single day. It's like, oh, but I have another class at the same time. Well, but now that we're talking about your experience as like your academic experience, I see you have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, a Master of Business Administration, and even a Doctorate of Business Administration. So, with so much academic like material that you have learned during this time, what is one piece of advice you would give young entrepreneurs so their business can succeed?
Young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean people that starting their own businesses.
Okay. I deal with that every day.
Okay.
Because you did not mention the fact that, I was in banking business, and that we knew that, but I'm also the senior lending consultant for the largest small business administration lender in the world. So I make lending decisions every single day concerning small businesses. And it's a company called Florida First Capital Finance Corporation. I'm past president of that, and now the senior lending consultant for them at this time. I'm still on the board of directors for them. I've been on the board for 34 years.
Oh wow.
34 years. And it's a company that's designed to help small businesses raise money. And the biggest problem that I see with small businesses is they don't have adequate working capital needs. They think, oh, I'm going to sell this and sell all these products, but you have to have products to be able to sell. And so if you cannot get the inventory to sell the products, then you can't sell them. And inventory is part of working capital. And so working capital is what people miss a lot. They miss it that once they sell the product, they got to pay off the accounts payable that was created to have that product, but then they got to go out and buy a new product to be able to sell it again. So that constant turnover then is a challenge to a lot of people. So that and just having enough capital to start a business is a problem. These are the biggest issues that small businesses have when they get started. Lack of capital, lack of working capital that they can have to put back into the products to sell. And you look at it this way. Suppose that you're you have a horse and a buggy. The horse and the buggy are your fixed assets. But then every day you go out in the marketplace, out in the community, to sell product. But you stop by a supplier in the morning to get the supplies to sell during the day. But then in the afternoon you got to pay it back. And so then you got to do it the next day and the next day. So your horse and your buggy are your fixed assets. You got to have capital to buy that. Your building, your equipment, your machinery, your cars, your computers. You have capital to buy that. But then you have to have working capital to buy your inventory and carry your receivables until you get paid back. So those are the biggest issues that I see in small businesses. Now, and also, you got to have a small business that meets a need. And what is the need that's being met? If you're a small business that does not, that the needs already been met by somebody else, why do it? Why do it unless you can do it better? And so if you can't do it better, don't do it. Do something else that small businesses need. So what's that need that they have? And that's the hard part. Determine what that need is that you're trying to fulfill that need. But capital, working capital, fulfilling the need, those are my issues for that.
What is the type of business that you would not recommend someone to get into? Because maybe because it's hard, or maybe because the market is so saturated.
Oh gosh.
Something that, I don't know, there's people that say that working in a restaurant that you never have like an actual profit because you have to be working all day. And you lose like a lot of money because you have to buy ingredients, like really.
When you beat me to that, when I was in the banking business, we had we called heuristics, the rules of thumb. And one of the rules of thumb is don't ever lend money to a restaurant. Don't ever lend money to a restaurant because the probability of failure of a startup restaurant is very high. Because it's food wastage, food losses from people stealing food, employees stealing food. You've got to be able to provide a really good product at a very low price, or nobody's going to come there. And then if you have a bad day, or somebody gets sick as a result of something you might have fed them, then you're done. Nobody will ever go back to that restaurant again. So restaurants, don't lend money to restaurants. So that was the kind of the cardinal rule. So it may seem like it's easy to start a restaurant, but it's really not. And you also have to think about barriers to entry. What are the barriers to entry to any kind of business that you have? Well, a restaurant takes a high barrier to entry because you got a lot of money up front and the space, the cooks, you have to have the proper sanitation devices. There's so much barriers to entry in that. This is ridiculous. So look at businesses that don't really have a high barrier to entry, high cost just to get into the business. Look for something that a little easier to get into that you can actually make money at. But don't lend money to restaurants.
Now that we're talking about credit, because this was my following question, is that you have extensive experience when credit is related, like a lot of the board of the credit union, board of directors of Florida First Capital Finance Corporation, board member of Goodwill Industries and the Big Bend, and this is a lot of experience in this sector. And as you know, most of us college students, we do not have credit cards. We have never had a loan. And what do you think is something that we could do to start that credit score? And after we started, how did we take care of it?
I can't speak specifically to exactly how you would do it here in Panama because I don't have that experience. Although I do know credit scores are available here in Panama. But you could probably do this, but I know we can do this in the United States, is that the credit union, and Bay Credit Union's now been changed their name to Hello Credit Union, by the way, which has changed their name just recently. We will lend money to people like you, very small amounts of money. For instance, we'll lend you a $500 loan. Now that's not that much money at all, but you pay it back over a 1 year period of time. We're willing to take a risk on everybody who's never had credit for that $500 loan. And then if you pay it back as agreed, then the next year we'll lend you $1,000. And the next year we'll lend you $2,500 if you pay it back as agreed. That's a way to build that credit. But if you don't want to do that, the other way to build the credit would be what's called a secured Visa card. Now, a secured Visa card is you take your money, and you pledge it to the financial institution, whether it be a credit union or a bank, and say, I want to hold this as collateral, which means that if you default on the loan, they take the money and they say, have a nice day. And they just take the money, and they should if you default on the loan. But that way, that you use that cash collateral that you have as a collateral for that loan, and then once you pay the loan back, you've established credit. And so then the next time you do that, you don't have to have that collateral on that, or to have a qualified cosigner with you. And a qualified cosigner is somebody that's got credit, got the income, got the history that they'll pay it back. So if you default, then that qualified cosigner is responsible to do that. And that's the way to establish credit.
Just to be clear, does that collateral ever comes back?
Yes, once you pay the loan back, you get the money back.
Okay.
So absolutely.
And most of us are also getting our first credit cards. Do you think we should take the first one that's offered, or what are some red flags that we should look at?
Just a couple things. One is the interest rate that the credit card's going to charge you, and that's one. And the other one is whether they're going to charge you an annual fee. If they're going to charge you an annual fee, stay away from them. There's no reason to have a credit card annual fee. Do away with it. And then the other one would be the interest rate that they would be charging you. But my strong recommendation is to never, ever carry a balance on a credit card to where you pay interest on it. I don't. I pay my credit card balance off every month. Now I use it all the time because I don't want to use my debit card here in a foreign country. I don't want to use it in the United States either. I don't want my debit card compromised and the money taken out of my account. So I charge everything on a credit card, and then I'll go home and pay it off that afternoon. So I get the points. So my airline points. So I'm going to Costa Rica this Christmas on airline points because I do that. But I never ever carry a balance. So interest rates only important if you're having to carry a balance on your credit card. But I recommend always paying your credit card off every month and never carry a balance on that.
Okay. And what if a bank offers me a credit card that has a relatively good interest rate, but they have an annual fee?
I mean, stay away from it.
Okay.
Stay away from it. Don't annual fee. You should not pay an annual fee.
Okay.
I mean, why? Because if you pay it off every month, the interest rate doesn't mean anything. So then all of a sudden you're paying an annual fee for the privilege of using their card. No. Because when you use a credit card, when you use it, the merchant that you go to has to pay a fee to the credit card company. They pay a fee to the credit card company. So they're making money off of my credit card usage. The credit card company says the merchant is paying a fee for that. So why pay a fee for the merchant to pay a fee, which they're charging that to you in the form of higher prices. So why pay that fee? And then why pay the interest? And then why pay the annual fee? No, don't do that. Don't do that. Find one that's not going to have an annual fee, and then don't carry a balance.
Okay, that seems like a really good advice. And there is this common conversation or debate that's going around that kids in high school should receive financial education. Here in Panama, we don't usually choose our subjects, at least, or courses in high school. We usually have like a bachelor's. There's a Bachelor of Science, a Bachelor of Commerce, and sometimes a Bachelor's of like letters and languages.
Okay.
So, do you think that financial education should be a general course as we take, for example, English or Spanish?
I have a very strong opinion on that. Absolutely. So absolutely. Now, that has been something that I have been pushing for in the United States, and recently in the state of Florida, it has now become law
It's amazing.
that high schoolers need financial education. And I did I did not do the study, so I cannot take credit for it. I was just the faculty advisor for an honor student who did a study on financial education. It was a fascinating study. Now, you have to understand a little bit of background about this study as well. This was a black female who who asked the question, is there a difference in financial literacy among the racial groups? And the racial groups, she identified 4 racial groups: white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, or white Caucasian, black, African American, Hispanic, and Asian. So those are the 4 groups that she identified. And this is a black female who asked this question. And her idea, or thought process, was that she was worried that the black population was not as financially literate as other populations would be. And we did a very extensive study using a survey that was designed by 2 famous researchers, probably Nole and Mitchell. And we used their financial literacy quiz for this project. And the data results were staggering. What we found, and this is data, and you cannot shoot the researcher for telling you what the data showed. The data was very, very interesting. It showed that the white Caucasians had the highest level of financial literacy, followed by Asians, followed by Hispanics, followed by blacks. And so in that order. And it was fascinating. We also found that on average, women scored about 13% less than men did on financial literacy. And I've done this over and over and over and over again with several hundred observations of data. And the data always points to the same thing. Whites score better, Asians, Hispanics, blacks, and women score 13, 15 points lower than men.
Wow.
So, which is kind of a scary situation because in my area of research as a professor, I've done some retirement research, and one of the challenges that I found in my research was that women are becoming more impoverished in retirement than men are, because just biologically speaking, on average, men do not live as long as women. And so, as a result of that, since if they were in charge of the finances, if they were, then if they predeceased their spouse, their wife, then all of a sudden, they don't know where the money's coming from, what to do with it. Now, these are just facts. I mean, I did that research a long time ago, and it's just a fact. And so they, as a result, they become impoverished in their retirement years, which is kind of sad.
Do you think that maybe after this interview is over, you could send the research to me, so if someone wants to read it, then I can link it?
It's way too, I did it several years ago. I didn't dig around and find it. It's written by a young lady that, who was her name? Gosh, I forgot her name now. But, I should have figured it out. She's a very, very pleasant person. I'll remember when I stopped talking. So Keen was her last name. I done several research projects with people at FSU, so that's a lot of fun. Tristan Keen is her name. Tristan. So I'll see if I can find it. But it's a very intensive research project, and she was the author of it. I was just a faculty advisor.
How do you bring your experience as a business, into real world business consulting, into the classroom?
Well, some of the things I do is I show them the actual loan request. So when I get a loan request, and I literally get one several a day. Now I don't do the actual physical underwriting of the loan, which is all the detailed stuff, but I have to make the decision as to whether or not the loan is made. And so I'll bring that into the classroom. I'll show that to the student. I'll say, now, would you make this loan or not? So would you make that loan? So, because if you don't make that, if you make a loan and it doesn't pay back, you're out the money. So, but if you make the loan, the business survives and does a good job, you're the hero. So, would you make that loan? Are you going to make that loan? So, when I was an adjunct professor, I would literally go to the bank during the daytime. I'd bring my banking experience into the classroom that nighttime. And the dean was a good friend of mine. He's retired as a dean now. I said, you bring to the classroom what you dealt with that day. And that's exactly what I do. Every chance I get, I bring to the classroom what I dealt with that day. And being the chairman of the board of Hello Credit Union, there's all kinds of things that go on in the credit union that I bring in the classroom as much as I possibly can. Because it's public information. Anytime you're dealing with a financial institution like Hello Credit Union or any organization like that, everything that they do is public information. So bring it to the classroom. Now, I cannot bring your name on that loan request, but I can show you the loan request because that's using government money to make that loan. So absolutely, I bring all that stuff to clients and show it to them. So it's a lot of fun.
The title that you gave, would you give that loan sounds like a TV show.
Yeah. Deal or no deal.
Yeah, exactly. And you have had a lot of responsibilities. You have balanced academics, administrative, and business roles all at the same time, all really demanding throughout your whole career. What do you think has been a strategy to manage those responsibilities effectively? And I assume you also have a family at home that you also need to take care of.
Yeah. The strategy is focused. You gotta stay focused on what you need to accomplish. And different people have different levels of energy and different organizational skills. I'm a high energy person, very high energy. And what people don't realize, I'm extremely organized. And I'm very organized. I've got things really organized well in advance. So, and a strategy that I have that people don't like to hear is I'm an early riser. I get out of bed between 4:30 and 5 every day. Not because I get the alarm set, I wake up naturally. And if you read the different books or different articles on the traits of effective people, they'll say that getting out of bed early is one trait. I get out of bed early, I exercise every day, every morning before I do anything. So then I go immediately go to work to try at 4:35 in the morning. So I get up, I exercise every day, then I go to work. Then and I want to get everything done I have to get done by 9 o'clock in the morning. That was from my banking days, because once the bank door opened up, that was it. Customer after customer after customer after customer. So you've got to be organized, you've got to be focused, and you've got to just prioritize what's most important. But the most important thing to me is my family. And that is the most important. And as a result of that, they recognize how important they are to me and I am to them. And they're very helpful to me, which is very good. My wife is unfortunately not here right this second because she's opening an art gallery in Florida. So she'll be here this week. She's a very good help. She's a huge help. Matter of fact, I just texted her this morning about stuff. She said, well, I'll be there this week to help you out with some stuff. So she's a big help. So a good partner. A good partner is absolutely one of the best things you can have in life as far as being organized and getting things done. Because sometimes I can't get to everything with a good partner that I know and can communicate with. Hey, can you help me on this? And she takes care of a lot of stuff for me.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And our last question for this interview is, what is one advice that you would give your younger self? If you had a younger version of yourself, as small Gary Bliss, what would you tell him?
It's the same thing the philosophy I had back then when I was younger. You got one life. You got one life to live. Make the most of it. Now, how do you make the most of it? Well, a couple of things that I am very, very adamant about is respect for other people. So be respectful of other people. You can still make the most of your life. But don't ever be ugly to anybody. Just don't be ugly to anybody. That's just wrong. Don't do that. I see so much of that going on in this world today. Don't be ugly to people. Be nice to people, respectful people. But you got one life to live. And so if you're respectful of other people, they'll respect you. And you're polite to other people, they'll be polite to you. And just constantly reach out. Constantly reach out for something new, something fun, something different. So reach out for something, because what regrets, if I ever have regrets with you, I regret not what I've done, but what I haven't done. So I'm gonna regret what I haven't done, not regret what I have done. So to that end, be respectful to everybody and kind and polite to everybody, environmentally conscious to everybody, and everything. So that's the respect that you need to show. But always reach out for something fun. You know, do some crazy things. Like, it's a national program, it's crazy. And you know, next week I'm going to Cuba for the weekend. So that's kind of crazy. I'm always reaching out for something to do. And so always be adventuresome. And don't ever let grass grow under your feet. I mean, you gotta move, keep going. So always be adventuresome. Always look for something fun to do. So that's really my advice to everybody. Have fun, but be respectful. Be respectful. And always learn. Always learn something. Always learn something. You know, it doesn't have to be financial management or statistics or something. It could be Washington toucans here, or like I said, I love my hummingbirds at my apartment. I'm learning about those hummingbirds, how aggressive they are toward each other, to get to that feeder. So, but I'll always learn something. Always learn, but be respectful, be adventuresome, but always learn.
Well, on behalf of the FSU News Portal Club, we want to thank you for being here. We really appreciate your time, and I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.